Y'all know how we do, man. We got to thank God every minute of every day. It's your boy, One Live Stu, Ryan Stewart, joined by the Heisman runner-up himself in 1999, Mr. Joe Hamilton. They call him Joseph. His mama called him Joseph. But we shortened that thing, and we just called him Joe. Joe, good morning, man. How you feeling today, sir?
Outstanding, man. What a day. What another day. I really, truly mean that, man. Outstanding, man, because, again, 90-something degrees, hot outside. Everything is at your beck and call.
Yeah.
All you have to do is really, really make a choice, man. What do you want to do? You know the good old saying that sometimes you take it for granted when we bless somebody or we are about to leave somebody. We say, hey, yo, make it a great day.
Right.
That means something. You can, if you want to and willing, make it a great day.
Amen. Amen. I forgot who I got that from years ago. But I used to say, hey, man, have a great day. Maybe it was my Uncle Donnie. And one day he stopped me and said, you know, nephew, you always telling me to have a great day. You know, you act as if it's not totally up to me.
Yes.
And when he said that, I said, oh, what are you saying? Hey, man, you know, it's up to me.
Yeah.
I want you to know it's up to you. So whenever I leave you, I tell you to make it a great day. Because
right.
no one else determines if that day can be good or bad except for the man in the mirror. It's up to you. So that's why I always say, hey, man, make it a great day because you do have that choice.
Great point, Stu. And, you know, I know you've probably heard this before, but I've heard around, and I love this one. Be the thermostat and not the temperature. Ooh. And what that means is you set a thermostat, in essence, it's saying set your temperature for this day or set your thermostat for this day, 72, 74, what have you. And then you making sure that the temperature is where you are. As opposed to being the temperature, you relying on other obstacles and other things that happen. No, be the thermostat. Yeah. Set that bad boy today, man.
Set that bad boy, man. It's your call.
Yes,
you put that thing on 85, it's going to be 85.
Yes.
You put that thing on 65, it's going to be 65.
No doubt about it.
This is In the Huddle with Joe Ham. Before we get into it, man, yesterday we did a Ryan's Rewind where you and I spent some time with Des White, Desmond White. Okay, had no idea his name was Edward. I thought him and Eddie Keys, my former teammate from Georgia Tech, I thought he and Eddie Keys were cousins. I didn't realize that Eddie was his uncle.
Right.
So I want to give a quick shout out and show some love to Edward Keys, man. He watches our show. He's probably watching right now. And if he's not watching now, he'll watch it a little bit later. But he watches our show. And one day after our show, he texted me and said, hey, man, real quick, I got an idea. I respond, what up, Keys? How you doing? Blah, blah, blah. He responds, I'm great, man. Real quick, check this out. Joe used to throw that ball to my nephew, Des. I think if you guys got Des on, it would be a good interview. And that's what lit the fire or gave me the inspiration to want to start Ryan's Rewind, which is something that Tree and I talked about for a while. But it made me want to really realize that you and I have something here that we can do a few times a month or whenever we find a good guest or when something's popping in the Georgia Tech community.
Right.
We're going to run this thing back Georgia Tech style, man. I mean, there's so many guys, you know, that can converse with us like you and I converse where we don't really need a script. Yes, we pre-plan. Yes, we have show prep. Yes, we have a plan for today's hour or hour plus, whatever it may be. But you and I relationship goes so deep and goes so far that we don't need a script to have a show.
Okay? No, we do not.
We do a show a few times a week. It's just not being recorded.
That's right.
So
That's right.
I wanted to thank Eddie, man, for contributing. And I tell my friends that all the time, man. You know, Doug and I are in this space. Yeah, Doug and I have this network. Yeah, the Two Last Twos have been around for a couple of decades, but we can't think of everything that might make sense. We just can't. We have our own ideas. We bounce things off of each other. We say we should try this, or what if we do this? What if we do? But when someone from the outside says, you know what would be good, I'm usually all ears.
Absolutely.
And Des was phenomenal yesterday, man.
And you know what? I want to add to that. Shout out to, definitely Edward Keys, no doubt about it. But a special shout out to Des because I have Des in my Rolodex too. Des is a real good friend of mine. And when you and I chopped it up about, having some former guests on and who we know and getting it back, when you texted me a couple weeks ago, maybe a week ago, about who is my favorite wide receivers, top three, Dez was always in that. But to get Dez on the show, I'm like, knowing Dez, I was like, no, not Dez. Dez wouldn't be able to chop it up in the barbershop like I know him.
Oh.
And boy, did he surprise. And not only me, and I'm not low blowing him, but my wife, Kenya, knows him just like we met at the same time. She and I met, obviously, in 95 when we got there together. And she met Dez and his wife, Kanisha. They were good. She and Kanisha, or her and Kanisha, was very, very good friends before. So she knows Dez just like I know Dez. Joe Burns knows Dez just like I know Dez. And both my wife, Joe Burns, and a few others was like, I didn't know Dez had that in him. I didn't know Dez was going to be that entertaining and insightful and engaged like that. And he knows his stuff. Shout out to Dez because he came with it and he made it a phenomenal interview, no doubt about it, brother.
Sir, one of the notes I had on my sheet yesterday, because I take notes and I write these things down, just things to be thinking about while we're in the show, was, are we going to have to pull it out of Dez? Because I don't know him like you know him.
Yes.
I don't have a relationship with him like you know him. So I wrote that down. Are we going to have to pull it out of him? But I wasn't concerned because I trusted and believed in y'all's relationship to be able to carry it. Okay,
man.
And sir, from the start, because our producer, Tree Taylor, she's the one that did the mic checks with Dez. She's the one that communicated with Dez, and she does it on this platform. So I logged on, but wasn't visible to just see and watch what was going on. And Dez was primarily just listening. He wasn't really, he was talking when he was asked the question, but he was just doing as he was instructed to do. He wasn't creating conversation with Tree like you and I would have while she was setting up the platform. So I wrote down, are we going to have to pull it out of him? And sir, from the start, the minute we got on, this big smile erupted and he was all in. I really enjoyed it. Yes,
I really enjoyed it too, Stu. That's the thing I learned about yesterday as well, is that, I mean, check your teammates out. Don't put them in a box, because if you were to say to me, go through my phone, have somebody on the top of my mind, Dez would be probably 20th or would have been 20th. And that's nothing on my good friend Dez White. It's just what you just asked. Will we have to pull it out of him? Will he be engaging? Will it be a one-word or two-word answer? Those type things.
We know it's not a shot to Dez White, because prior to us having this little conversation right here, you started it off by saying, when I asked you who were your top three receivers, he was in that list.
Yes.
So we know how you feel about him. We know you like him and appreciate him.
That's right.
We know you've known him for years. So it wasn't a shot. But in this business, the last thing you want to do is have someone come on and spend time with you that you've got a needle to get a response out of. Mm-hmm. We used to do a Funny Friday, and this is In the Huddle with Joe Ham. I'm your boy, One Life, Stu Ryan Stewart. He is, of course, Joe Hamilton. We used to do a Funny Friday every Friday in Atlanta when we were on radio, where comedy club owners and managers would bring by the comedian that they would have in their establishment that Friday and let them talk with us.
Yes.
We always told them one segment only. However, prior to the show, we had a time slot of an hour prepared for them. So if this guy is good, we know we're going to keep him for 3 segments, which is an hour. But if this guy is bad, if he's not funny, you knew coming in here, you had 1 segment. Now it's time for you to go. Okay?
That's professional.
So most of the good comedians can hold a mic and they can talk. Mm-hmm. So they stay for an hour and sometimes even longer. But from time to time, a guy would come in or a lady would come in and she would sit down or he would sit down and they wouldn't be entertaining. And I would send Doug a text, this is going to be just 1 segment. And he would reply, hell yeah, I wish it would end now. Stuff like that. Yeah. So I was prepared for us to do a good 20, 30 minutes with Dez. But, sir, we could have done 3 hours yesterday.
Yeah, he said, oh, man, I thought it was 20, 25 minutes. It's up already. He wanted to go. I love that feeling that he felt that he was in the barbershop or in the locker room just chopping it up, man. That was good.
So everybody that's watching the show and paying attention and listening, my email is below on the picture. It says sme.ryanstewart@gmail.com. If you've got show ideas or if you've got access to someone that is a former techie, that is a former NFL player, or would be a good interview, shoot me an email. Mm-hmm. Share your thoughts. We always say that this is the people show, so we mean it. We get thoughts and ideas from the people that are watching and invested in the show. So if you think there's someone that would make sense for me and Joe, shoot me a message and let me know. sme.ryanstewart@gmail.com. If you got access to a big name that you think would be good for Doug and I on the Two Lives Tuesday experience, shoot me an email, sme.ryanstewart@gmail.com. Joe, let's get into it, man.
Let's do it.
OKC are now your current 2024-2025 NBA season champions. Definitely the best in the league this season. Before any questions come out, give me your thoughts on that, Ham.
Well, from start to finish, I'm not saying they had the best record the entire season, Ryan Stewart. I'm not saying that. No, I'm not. But I would tell you this, that they ended the regular season as the best team. They went through the playoff just demolishing opponents. I think they had 3 or 4 30-point games. That's outstanding. They have the MVP. They have an up-and-coming young coach, only 5-year in. Maybe a Hall of Fame now GM and Sam Presti that's going to go because he has his championship and all his prior moves that he's made at OKC. He's one of the greats. To finish it off that way, I'm very proud. I'm very proud of the way they did it. I'm very proud of last year. They're getting bounced out in the first round after having such an outstanding season, taking all those lumps, taking all those obstacles, the hurdles, learning from it, and they did not have to go through as many growing pains as the Boston Celtics recently. You remember Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown and that crew, they were knocking at the door for quite a while before they really knocked it down. So OKC being able to be there with that young core group that's under contract now, that is very, very exciting. And to have a parade, Stu, it gave me yesterday watching that parade. You know me, I like to think about, what happens with me. Did I ever have those type of experience or that experience? And it puts me back in the realm of 2003 and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Super Bowl championship that they won. And what stood out, or we won, what stood out to me then and now, I want to say that when you have an organization being the first time doing it, it means something to the fans. They're going to put all in it. Now, I'm not saying the Boston Celtics or the LA Lakers or the New England Patriots, they would do it less differently than for the 5th or 6th parade. But when you have the first, man, they show out. They show up. You have a great time. In Tampa Bay, when I was with the Bucks, it was there first, and OKC is there first. And you can just see the excitement in everybody that, man, we did it. We're over the hump. We belong. Right. And now we can knock and we can say, hey, let me in this room. And OKC now can be in that room of NBA champions.
I'm going to make a minor correction. But before making the minor correction, you brought up your Bucks championship. I would love for you to answer this simple question. You have a Super Bowl freaking ring. Okay? Where is that Super Bowl ring, Joseph?
Right around the corner where I'm in the office now. Right around the corner, a little old case. Right around the corner, man. Yeah. No doubt about it. And again, that Super Bowl ring that I have, Stu, it went back and forth between my dad and I. Not back and forth. I gave it away. I gave it away because of pride. I gave it away because selfishness, but I have it back now. I have it back.
You mean unselfishness, not selfishness. You mean unselfishness.
No, I do not mean that. No, I do not mean. I mean selfishly.
Explain. So
I thought I told you this story.
Gave it to your father.
Yes, sir. I thought I told you this story, Stu. What happened is that I was so embedded in saying hut, being a part of that Super Bowl experience, being Brad Johnson, making a play in that Super Bowl. And I said to myself, I didn't win that ring. This is not my ring. And I said, here you go, Dad. I didn't have anything to do with that. And for 2 or 3 weeks, he scolded me. Son, you are sure? No, did you do anything on scout team? Did you contribute at all? Did you have any locker room talks with some of those vets? You are a part of the team.
Yeah.
So he had it for about a year. And then I was like, hey, Dad, I think you're right. Hey, can I get that back, Dad? He said, son, I know you would come back for it. So selfishly, in the term of being a big head, like, I didn't really play on that day, had me in my feelings a little bit.
Right.
Not anymore, though.
But you were a contributor. Mm-hmm. You were a part of the team. I don't care if you were the 53rd man on the roster. I don't care if there were times that season where you were one of the 7 scout team players or one of the 7 practice team players. You were still a part of that team. You're a part of the fabric that made up that actual team that got those rings, and that's why everybody in the locker room gets one.
Oh, no doubt about it. Then I look back at the whole situation, Stu. I played Aaron Brooks in practice.
Yeah.
I played Michael Vick in practice. Yeah. I helped prepare Brooks and Sapp and all those guys to do what they did on a Sunday in and a Sunday out basis. So, yeah. But, again, that's why you see at the parade yesterday, and I was so giddy with glee that everybody spoke to Jaden Williams, not Jalen Williams. Your boy Wallace spoke, and they spoke like prideful that this is all my. SGA is the MVP, and they have different roles, but my role is a champ now.
Let's stay in the ring here for a quick second. This is In the Huddle with Joe Ham. I'm your boy, One Life Stu, Ryan Stewart. Reminding everybody that Stewart Media and Entertainment has several different programs on our network, so make sure you check them out by going to YouTube and pulling up Stewart Media and Entertainment, and you will see the lineup. The Stews go live every single Monday and Thursday at 7 a.m. With the Two Live Stews experience. Sir, last thing about that ring. What? Your dad probably wore that ring every day. Your dad probably went in the barbershop every day, not needing a haircut, just to floss that ring.
Especially when he went out. Because he's something like me now. I very seldom wear it unless I'm amongst something that you and I would go through, a gala or something like that, with other big wigs that may have a ring. Not a lot of rings, but may have a ring. But you want to try to go out there, because I've met so many people who are like, hey, what's that? Oh, that's a Super Bowl ring. Or I've met people that I might see again, like, to Scholar School, some parents that, oh, you got a Super Bowl ring? Do you have it on now? I would love to see one. I've never seen one. So I might bring it a day or two after and have it in my pocket and be like, here you go. You see this? And the look on their face like, wow, look how much it weighs. All those things are magnificent. And for Dad to be able to share that with me and tell me those crucial father moments like, son, come on, get real, man. You're a part of a team. It's a Super Bowl team, brother.
Yeah. George, what's George's last name? The great running back from South Carolina.
That is his Rogers.
Rogers, okay.
George Rogers.
I love George Rogers. We're not friends, but we're associates. We know each other. We've been in the same circle a couple of times. And let me tell you something that's really cool about George Rogers. I don't care where you see him. His Heisman Trophy is less than a football field away.
Yes.
And the only reason why I say a football field is because if he's in a building, it's in his car.
Yes.
He's got a case for it. He keeps it in his car. He keeps it in his truck. He opens that case up. If anybody ever says, Mr. Rogers, I'd love to see your Heisman, he'd be like, oh, you would? Hold on one second. He will leave and go get it and come back within 5 minutes because he doesn't leave home without it.
He does not. And I've been with him on several occasions that we've met up, and everybody around him says the same thing about him that you just said. George, where's the ring? And all his associates, they'll come. You got the ring?
The trophy.
Either he has it on or it's nearby. Yeah.
Right. In the Huddle with your boy Joe Ham. I'm your boy One Live Stu, Ryan Stewart. Getting ready to get really deep into it. So the correction that I was going to make was you said that OKC had one of the best records this season.
No, the best record.
They had the best record this year. As a matter of fact, their record this season allows them to be in the top 5 all time of NBA records. This is a phenomenal team, Joe, and this may be a little bit off the script, but I'm going to go ahead and go there anyway. How long do you think this team can sustain the level of play that they had this year? Is there an opportunity for this Oklahoma City Thunder team to repeat maybe a time or two? And of course, I'm sure you know that. We'll get into the parity in a second. Give me your thoughts on that, Joe.
Well, I think they would have the opportunity to compete until 2030. No doubt about it. When you say repeat, there you go, that, yeah, they'll have an opportunity to repeat. They will play at this high level for 5 more years and definitely next year. But when you look at it, I mean, who else is in that West? It's a tough gauntlet. And I hate to do it. I'm going to knock on wood for all the athletes in the NBA right now. You have to take injury into account. You have to. For what we've seen in all the top-notch players going down, and now you're making moves to try to be without Kyrie Irving for the first half of next season, be without Damian Lillard for an entire season, Jason Tatum for an entire season. You never know what happens, because we going into this season, right, Stu? Or I went into this season thinking that the Boston Celtics were the big-time favorite, that they were going to repeat. And they didn't do it. So to answer your question, they will compete at a high level. It will not be any drop-off, but look for the West to shrink a little bit, and anything can happen in a 7-game series. But I think they'll be around. And that's why I would like to not use dynasty anymore, Stu. Is they on the course, or they on the brink of being a dynasty? I think those dynasty teams now are long gone. I think we got to go by. I think we got to go by years.
Yeah,
almost like the Spurs did it. Will you consider the Spurs a dynasty?
I
Popovich,
Tony Parker, Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili. I most certainly would look at them as a mini dynasty.
Why'd you say mini?
When I hear dynasty, I think 6, 7, like the Chicago Bulls, the Pittsburgh Steelers. That ranges down to me when I think dynasty. But you're right.
You're gonna have to correct that though, Stu, because I know for a fact you would say that the Golden State Warriors were a dynasty.
Yeah, with their 3 or 4. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I agree.
But what I'm saying is, when I brought up the Spurs, is because they've never won back-to-back championships.
Right.
If they stayed consistent through, they were winning. I think since 2003 or 99, they were winning odd years. 2003, 2005, 2007, so to speak, and it was being years apart like that. But they're still a dynasty with Tim Duncan and those boys like you alluded to. So I don't think you need to be going back to back to be a dynasty. What are you doing in a 5-year period? Like the Kansas City Chiefs. They did go back to back once, but what are you doing in a 5 to 7 year period? Yeah. Can you get me 2, maybe 3 championships in that period of time? Do
you have total control in that period of time? I agree.
Yes, yes.
That's a point, Joe Hamilton. OKC had the best regular season record at 68-14, best in the Western Conference. Their dominance included their best net rating in the league, plus 12.9, even surpassing the legendary 71-72 Lakers with that number. They led in both offense and defensive efficiency, scoring 114.7 points per game and allowing only 105.7 points per game. Sir, they literally balled this year, and that's something that cannot be overlooked.
Yeah, and they did it a real convincing way. Some people would say, what do you mean? They didn't sweep everybody. No, I don't want you to sweep everybody. Are you tested? Are you game ready? Do you have that fortitude? Do you have that guts to when the going get tough, you get going? So I said that to say that they went to Game 7 with Denver. I mean, Game 7. And here to win the NBA title, that was a Game 7.
That was a Game 7.
Even when their palms got sweaty, knowing all the pressure, knowing they had the best team in the regular season, they were able to compartmentalize things, settle things down, and hold up the trophy. I have to give them immense credit for what they did this season.
In the huddle with Joe Ham, I'm your boy, One Live Stu, Ryan Stewart. Joe, we did this a couple times already this past season. My question is SGA a superstar? Now again, and I'm happy to see you think about it and not rush into an answer. I'm happy to see you put the condom on. I'm happy to see that. Too many guys find themselves in situations because they just rush into it. You need to be able to gather yourself, sit down and think, put that condom on before you start them actions. And that's what you just did. We've done this a couple of times this year. And when I ask you now, after he's got a league MVP, he's got a finals MVP, he's led his team to a championship. When I ask if he's a superstar, the first thing you did is you thought. I appreciate that. Please continue.
Yeah, I'm just thinking whether I'm willing to let him in right now, Stu. And the reason why it's so difficult because over the last 2 weeks, and definitely when you've been asking this question in the second half after the All-Star break of the NBA, I've shrunk my list down to only 4 superstars in the NBA right now. Only 4. Giannis, LeBron, Kevin Durant, and Steph Curry. I have a hard time, which I can get to 5, where my homegirl Candy played basketball at Georgia Tech. She's saying, Joe, how you can't let go Jokic in there? Like I said, I want to, and I know his numbers, that he presents me and what he's done, 3-time MVP and a champion, he should be in there. But I'm knocking it down to those 4 because it's got to be box office. It's got to be box office. It's one thing about being a superstar or a star and being excellent. But will somebody drop what they're doing to come see you play? Will somebody, when you come into town and say, hey, man, I know I'm supposed to do this or I have a meeting, but ho, Steph Curry's in town. No, I got to see him. Yeah. Or, LeBron is in town. Hey, I don't care. Hey, I'll do that tomorrow. Those are the type of things when I have graduated my mind to superstar status now. And yes, SGA has done that because he's been knocking. This is the 3rd straight season that he's averaged over 30 points. He was second in the MVP last year. So he wasn't just coming out of nowhere this year. 2-way player. And if I thought about it long enough, I would say
Olympic gold medalist.
No. He's from France.
Olympic gold medalist with the Canada team.
I mean, Canada, when?
Projected for 2024.
Oh, what do you mean, 24?
Yeah. Olympic gold medalist with Team Canada. I'll do more research on that. But
what does that mean? What does that mean? We just won the gold.
I'll do more research on that. Please continue what you're saying.
Yeah, and then SGA, as far as I would want him to absolutely go see him play. I think he's one of those guys. So he's borderline student, but to give you an answer right now, I am going to be a prisoner of the moment and stick to my guns. He's not in there yet. No, sir. He's not in there yet.
Average over 30 points per game in recent seasons. Great shooting guard percentages. Strong defender. Excellent in clutch moments. His leadership has turned that team around. He's shown longevity because he's still only in his mid-20s right now, and he's done this for the last 3 to 4 years.
Yes.
I think with this title that they just won, I think with the MVPs for the season and in the finals, that he probably will lean on the edge of being a superstar.
Yes, sir. That if you could give me that, if I can give you an answer and straddle the fence like you just did, I want to lean there too. But I'm leaning back towards where he's trending that he will be. But I just need a little bit more because, again, I don't want to start throwing guys in because we can throw Jason Tatum in, can't we? We can throw guys like somewhat, he's a champion. We can throw some guys like Jaylen Brown.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't. And
what's the young man in Cleveland?
Donovan Mitchell. Do you want to throw Ant Edwards in there? So I don't want to throw. I don't want to water it down like that. I mean, there's a lot of really good up and coming super, and that's Halliburton as well.
Right.
As well. Yeah, so, and again, you might disagree, and I think a lot of people might disagree with the Joker as far as him being a superstar. Because I go back, I compare him to what he's doing to Tim Duncan.
Well, we disagree about Joker. I think he's I think he's at the top of the hill when it comes to pedigree and greatest players in the current league right now.
Yeah,
and I definitely see him as a superstar.
Yeah, and that's why I have to look back and I have to go and say that Joe Ham, is Tim Duncan or was Tim Duncan a superstar? And that was yes.
Yeah.
But he was boring. And I'm only saying that only saying that about Joker because his game is methodical.
Right.
His game is kind of smooth old man game. And that's why I kind of say that. But you're right. I think he's definitely a superstar.
In Huddle with your boy Joe Ham, I'm your boy One Life student Ryan Stewart. We'll stay in the world of the NBA here briefly. Commissioner Silva has got to be thrilled with the parity that's in the NBA. Talk about that, Joe. And I want to know, are you a fan that prefers the 7 to 8 year run that the Bulls had where they dominated for 6 years and won those titles? Or do you like parity? Here we have now with OKC, the 7th champion in the last 7 years. Are you a parity guy or are you a guy that wants the bosses to be the boss?
I'm a parity guy. I'm a parity guy because I think I know I'm a former player. I'm an athlete. And from that perspective, I want to see the playing field kind of even. I want to think in my heart when I'm working out in the off season that I have a legitimate chance of holding up a trophy, a legitimate chance, you know. With that being said, Adam Silver has to be, and his crew, ecstatic. Why? Because we implemented this. We wanted this to happen. When you hear guys and you turn on the TV, Sports Center, or any of these news channels, as far as sports, they'll say about the second apron. And that second apron, whether you have to pay that tax as an owner or as a team, that's basically saying that you can't pay everybody. You can't build a super team and have 2 or 3 guys making over $45 million, $50 million. No. When you become or you approach that second apron, we're going to tax you. We're going to force you to pay a little bit more, and we're going to punish you as far as, you know, draft picks and trades that you can do. So that's why guys are trying to avoid that. And with that being said, Stu, Adam Silver is about to have, I think, next year, 8 straight new champions. This is 7 straight. And when you go back, I have it in my head now because I was looking at it. I said, I can't believe it. It was the Toronto Raptors. We know they're not going to win it next year. And then in 20, it was the Los Angeles Lakers. They have a chance to win it, but I don't think they're going to win it. And 21 is with the Bucks. They're not going to win it next year. 22 is with the Warriors.
Golden State.
They're not going to win it next year. And then it was Boston. Then it was the Denver Nuggets. Denver Nuggets. They just going to get a new coach. They might not win it next year. Then you had last year the Boston Celtics. With Jason Tatum gone, they're not going to win it. Now OKC has an opportunity to say we go back to back. But I think with the up and coming West and the East, I think it's going to be 8 straight. And why wouldn't you want that? It is not the fact that 8 straight and you have 40-win teams and guys finishing 500. No, you got teams winning 50 and 55 games and 60 games. So it's very competitive. It's very, very competitive. There's a lot of teams at the top. So give me this all day that we are entertained by this talent being spread out throughout all these leagues.
This is the longest streak of unique champions in the NBA's history. And there's a few reasons for that. Some people will say that the 2023 collective bargaining agreement is one of the reasons why things are the way they are. The financial constraints that's been put on several different teams. The young core of players that have been an influx into the NBA is one of the reasons why there's some parity now. Back in the day, you had a handful of superstars, and they were just spread out on 2 or 3 teams, it seemed like. 4 or 5 teams. But now, as we've done a couple times already today, we've named some dogs that we don't even really consider superstars these days.
There you go. And I love how you put that. Some dogs. So I don't want anybody to take us out of context. We're respecting dogs.
Right.
But to get to superstar level, you have to be more than special. And another stat I read or maybe listened to this morning, Stu, David Stern, 30 years in the NBA, my brother. 30 years in the NBA and only 8 different champions. NBA champions. 8. All right. And here you got Adam Silver, 10 years in the NBA.
With 7 already.
8 different.
8 different. But
come on.
The last 7 years, different ones.
Absolutely
8 different. You're correct. Come
on.
Yeah.
So again, old school, you might think that you wanted it in the old school way to where, the Chicagos of the world kept doing it. LA did it. Boston did it. Some of those guys like that, or the Houston Rockets, were in there, Springfield, San Antonio Spurs. Will you want just those guys, or do you want it that we don't know? Yes, we'll speculate. Right. And you know who I know who is very, very happy right now? Who's Vegas. That? Vegas.
Yeah. Well, Vegas, speaking of Vegas, they've got an overwhelming number that says OKC will repeat right now.
Well, that's what they want.
That's what they want. Yeah, they want people pouring their money. They want people to put their money down. A quick correction, Joe, and you were right. My research did me wrong. I was looking at a projected 2024 Olympic gold medalist in SGA, not a current. So my research took me back so far that it was clearly 2023, 2024 when I took some notes. But they were saying they were projecting him to win one with Canada, which they did not.
And the only reason I clap back so fast is because I'm an American.
In the huddle with your boy, I know we won. On one line, Ryan Stewart, man. And let's stay here a little bit longer, man. You've dealt with injuries in your career, as too have I. I still have not looked at Halliburton's injury in real time. Mm-hmm. I was blessed to be on a bathroom run and then in the kitchen listening to the game, but not watching it when he tore his Achilles. So I have yet to see him fall on the floor. People have told me that you can physically see the pop of his Achilles. How sad is that, Joe? And your thoughts on Halliburton saying, I believe as recent as yesterday, that if he had the opportunity to do it all over again, he would.
Man, it's very sad, very sad. I watched it, and it's not much different from how exactly KD did it years ago, trying to all of a sudden make an explosive move. It's not, different from how Jason Tatum did it, trying to get to a loose ball, trying to make an explosive move. What he did the other night, Halliburton, was just trying to get by his defender on an explosive move, and it gave out on him. It gave out on him. Am I to say that, or if I'm privileged to say that calf injury had something to do with it? I would think so. He's not fully healthy. That's why when the question was presented to him, would you do it again knowing that you were somewhat not 100%? He said yes, absolutely yes. And my heart goes out to him in two ways. You went out in the first quarter in which you were balling of that game 7. You went out in the first,
from behind the arc, 3 for 4.
And he just shot 1 from the parking lot. So you like that, and it was a game 7. And to add on to that, Stu, you never want to get injured, but to add on to that, you did it in June. So all the experts would say, the doctors would say, that's a whole entire year. You're about to miss the entire year. Now you would rather that happen in November or December, to where you can at least come back at the midway point of the next season. So that's a double whammy to him, but he's only 25 years of age. He can ask, or he can look to Kevin Durant in the same situation. Kevin Durant has been through the roof since his Achilles.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he did that even older than Halliburton is now. So the upside, the potential to come back healthy and better than he is right now is there. But my heart just goes out for him, because when you pat the ground like that and he said, God, man. And that's why I tell young guys now, and I've always told myself, hey, make sure you don't have to look in that mirror and have any regrets. I wish I should have, could have in the workout and, strengthening that Achilles, all those things. Not Halliburton, but just you don't want to cut any corners, because that's a lot of games.
You mentioned Kevin Durant, as he has rehabbed and come back in a resounding way with the Achilles tear that he had. There's 3 number zeros, even though 0 isn't a number because it's 0. But that's a debate for another day. Halliburton wears 0, Tatum wears 0, and Damian Lillard wears 0. All 3 of those guys are out with an Achilles tear right now. I've read somewhere that in the last year, there's been 8 Achilles tears to NBA players.
Man.
Can I get your thoughts on why, Joe, or what you may think could be the cause of this, or why this is happening so much in today's game?
Yeah, but that's a good one. That's a good question, Stu. I can try to give you a thought, but that LeBron James is going to always come into my head. LeBron James is going to always come into my head because I would tell you my initial thought would be too many games. Another thought I would be saying is that the pace of play, the way they run up and down the court, it's taking a toll on these guys. It's taking a toll. But again, if you're seeing these young guys are getting younger, faster, stronger, they have more technology at their beck and call, I can't give that to be an excuse. But that isn't high number. And the reason why I keep on bringing back, or I alluded to the king, LeBron James, Father Time hadn't hit him. Well, why is he surviving these games and some of these, your pressure-packed seasons? And when you look at it, how many games?
Nobody's played more basketball than him.
Yes, the man has been in the playoffs. I mean, come on.
Right.
He went to the finals how many straight years?
Right.
He's played basketball. And I'm not saying he was injury-free. He had some nicks and bruises, his wrist and hamstring that we had to sit out months. And one season he got, sat down for the rest of the season. But not any season-ending surgery like that would cause him to miss time the next season. Yeah. So I have my thoughts on this, too, as far as the length of the games. But how am I going to look to say 82 down to what? And technology is supposed to be improving. And these guys are supposed to be getting stronger and faster and knowing how to recover with their body with these machines and all these things that they can, make sure their body is healthy with. So I don't want to sound insensitive here, but I don't think it's a problem.
Yeah.
I think it's happenstance. And I know that sounds like, Joe is a high number because if you look at it, Stu, we're not upset, but we're alarmed because they're big names. They're big names. I think this has been going on with not the alarming rate, but because they are stars, all-stars, all NBAers. That's why I think we're paying a little bit more attention to what could be the cause of these injuries.
Yep. In the huddle with your boy Joe Ham. I'm your boy One Life Student Ryan Stewart here to give you a quick reminder to catch Doug and I tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock right here on this very same platform, Stewart Media and Entertainment via YouTube. We'll be doing the show at 7 o'clock. We do it every Monday and we do it every Thursday. You mentioned Kevin Durant, man. You took me into my next question. And Joe, I think I know where you're going to side with this stuff. Your boy did it again. He forced himself out. And honestly, research has shown me that this is truly the second time he's forced himself out of a situation, even though this is his 7th different uniform. It would be 8 if you didn't consider OKC to be an extension of the Seattle Supersonics, which they moved from Seattle to OKC and changed their name. So it's the same team, but different team. So some people say it's his 8th team. I say it's his 7th. Joe, give me your thoughts on KD doing what he do.
Hold on, Stu. Are you saying seventh different team? Are you going back to college in Texas and everything?
No,
he's only played now, OKC, Golden State, Brooklyn, Suns. So this should be his 5th, right?
OKC, Golden State.
Now if you count Seattle, that'd be his, 7th.
Okay. I saw I did say
they probably wanted him.
Yeah, you're right. That's my second football today, Joe. You're right.
We good.
Yeah, we're definitely good. But it's his second forced situation out of the 4 or 5 that he's found himself in.
Right. And
share your thoughts on that, Joe.
I'm all with player empowerment, Stu. I'm all with it. However, come on, KD. You used the word there I love that you used. You said forced. Because this wasn't a trade. When you look at Kristaps Porzingis, when you look at Drew Holiday, when you look at Anthony Simons, when you look at some of these guys are getting traded now, right before the draft is tonight and trades are being made and guys are not knowing. Drew Holiday probably had no inkling that he's going to be going to Portland. If he had his druthers and he had his choice, he'd probably say, hey, ship me here or ship me there. Right. He didn't ask out. So now when you look,
he doesn't have the cachet of a Kevin Durant to get what he wants also.
No, he doesn't. No, he absolutely doesn't. But anytime a player gets in a position to be able to do it, I'm going to side on, the side of the player. But I have to go back to Kevin Durant. Kevin, man, you're the common guy in these deals now, and nobody forced you to go anywhere. You chose to go to Golden State where it was a successful tenure. You chose to go to Brooklyn with Kyrie Irving and James Harden. You wanted out of there. You chose to go to the Phoenix Suns. And when you're talking about with Devin Booker, and they tried to give you everything they needed to give you in Bradley Beal. And now you're choosing again to go to the Houston Rockets. Who's it going to eventually fall on? Are you set now, Kevin Durant? What do you want to do? What do you want to accomplish with this? And I understand if you're chasing rings, because all of them do. I don't care what you're saying. They want to, have more rings than Bill Russell. Some of them can't get there, but they want to compete with rings. But the way you're doing it is not good for the NBA. But I like it because just what you alluded to, not many players can do that. Not many players can say, I'm going to San Antonio, Miami, or the Rockets, and that's it.
Right. He wasn't forced out of Oklahoma City. That was a free agency move.
That was a free agency, yes, sir.
He wasn't forced out of Golden State either. That was a free agency move when he chose to go to the Nets.
Yeah, well, I thought he opted out of that one.
No, he wasn't forced. Again, he left in free agency for the Brooklyn Nets.
Okay.
There were some chemistry concerns and playoff frustrations, but no trade demand or forced exit out of Golden State. So, we see it differently, Joe.
Well, let me take that back. Let me take that back then because, yes, he was able to, all these moves he made, all these destinations that he ended up going to, he was able to choose.
Yeah.
He was able to choose. It wasn't something that, hey, I'm going to send you off somewhere or I'm not going to get your input and where you're going. He was able to have his input wherever he landed, all these different teams.
We just talked about Drew Holiday. And he is a prime example, along with the situation that happened to Barry Sanders when I was still with the Lions a couple of decades ago. Drew Holiday and Barry Sanders in situations like theirs are the reason why I don't have any problems with any player that says, I want to go, I don't want to be here, and here's where I want you to send me. If you've got the juice and the power to do that, you should exercise that juice and that power. Barry Sanders, after retiring, saying I'm done with the game, was forced to pay back some of his money that he had in the signing bonus. Drew Holiday still has 2 years, $70+ million to be in Boston. He wakes up and he's forced to go to basketball purgatory. He's going to Portland. And Portland's not one of the worst places you could be, but in today's game and today's time, they're in Sacramento. You don't want to choose to go be there. Mm-hmm. So, if a player has the juice or the ability to say, hey, man, this has been cool, but for whatever reason, you know what? It rains too much here for me. I'm fine with them exercising their right to say, I want to go, and I want to go to either Houston, Miami, or San Antonio. One of those three. If it's not one of those three, I'm going to fight the trade, which is going to cause problems. People ain't going to want to spend. They're not going to want to sign me because I'm not going to stay. But if it's one of those three, I'll make it sweet for y'all. I'm a fan of the player controlling their own destiny, being the master and the captain of their own fate. And a lot of people aren't. Doug is one of those people that says, if they drafted you or they gave you the contract, you should honor it. Why? They don't honor it.
They don't honor it. They don't honor it. And, and Stu, I'm feeling you, and I like what you're saying. However, I have the opportunity or I have the right to assess your situation when you do those things, though. Okay, I can be acceptable, or I can accept that you're going to go and have player empowerment. You have the cachet. You've earned your stripes, so to speak, so you can pick and choose where you're going to go to win a championship. Man, go ahead for it. I'm with you with that, Stu. But me, where I sit, I have my right to judge you as well. I have my right to say, hey, man, you went there with a stacked team and you weren't able to do it. You went to a team, the Golden State, that had a core, and you added to that being a two-time final MVP, yes, and you won. You went over there to the Phoenix Suns, and you didn't quite get it done. So now, as a basketball analyst, and I'm analyzing you as a basketball player, you go to Houston, I can go with the end result, and I can go and come up to my conclusion. How am I going to judge the career of Kevin Durant?
Yeah.
Outside of the moves that you made or where you ended up being, you were on stacked teams. Matter of fact, you left OKC with their pretty stacked team playing with another Hall of Famer, Russell Westbrook. So, yes, good move. I have no problem with it. But again, what are your goals? And if you don't win there, what are we going to say about him? We're going to continue to say that, yeah, you're a 2-time NBA champ, but you kind of hopped around on teams.
Yep. Getting ready to move on, man, into something else. But before we leave the world of the NBA, as we get ready to wrap up In the Huddle with your boy, Joe Ham. Joe, what happened? There's an NBA draft tonight. Draft tonight. And unfortunately, Joe, we don't really know. Well, I don't really know who the players are other than the top 5 that may be drafted. Back in the day, when they called the first 20-plus names.
That's right.
I knew who that was. I knew
that's
that.
Right.
Joe, what's happened, man? There's a draft tonight, and I'm not very familiar with the guys that's going to be drafted. Share your thoughts.
Two things happened, Mr. Stewart. 2 things. Number one, the one and done. And what I mean one and done, that you don't really get familiar with who's coming out of high school and going where. A lot of people don't know about the guy that's going to BYU. He's going to be the number 1 pick next year. He was the number 1 freshman, Dibinatsa, number 1 freshman coming out this year. We don't know about him. Number 2 is that the European basketball, international basketball is taking over. I know you know, but a lot of people don't know the first 2 draft picks last year were foreign-born players. The Hawks took one of them in Ricochet.
Yep.
All right, so that's where it's going. And because now I can only name you Cooper Flagg, Ace Bailey, Dylan Harper. 3 of the top 20 I can only name. And then when I looked on my mock, Jay Billis and those guys' mock draft, I'm seeing guys I've never even heard of in college. So they're coming from overseas. So it's the one and done. And more importantly, it is not a bad thing, I guess, for the NBA. It's international players. Because I would put this back to you that the last how many MVPs of the NBA has been international players, right. From the Joker to Embiid,
and let's dig a little bit deeper than that, Joe. I just thought about
to
this.
SGA.
Let's dig a little bit deeper. We're also seeing an influx of international players in college basketball, and those college basketball players that's coming from overseas, they're allowed to play overseas in professional leagues.
Yes.
So now, NIL, transfer portal, that's made the college player be willing to stay more than risk not being drafted or not making money because they can make a little bit of change in college basketball with the NILs.
Good point.
But now the NIL players are coming from overseas getting that money. And players are staying in college basketball a little bit longer because they're making $2-3 million. And they're not saying I'm giving up this money to risk getting drafted or not getting drafted. They're taking that shore bread, which is there for them. So that's got to be a part of it too.
And I think that's a win-win situation, because if you're looking at it at the NBA from an NBA perspective, that guy that stayed in college, and if he has potential to play in the NBA, he's going to be more NBA ready. He's not going to have to learn on the fly. He's not going to have to be sit down to the G League. Then when you're looking at it from a player's perspective, a young player, I can come in and hone my skill on a college campus, get coached by one of the best coaches or some of the best coaches, and play with really good college teammates, and get an education and live a young life of being in college, walking a college campus, doing the nightlife, sorority, fraternities, all those type of things. So I think it's a win-win. It's just the fact that we don't know them. It's not that we don't follow basketball, because you and I follow college basketball, but we don't know some of these guys that's coming in and leaving, and so much parity that we watch more, or there are more players than just the Blue Buds, the Kansas, the North Carolinas, the Dukes, the Michigan States. There are more UCLA. There are more players and more schools. The SEC, Alabama, SEC had 15 teams in the NCAA? Shouldn't that be a football school?
Everybody.
So
right?
now I think it's more people playing, and we just don't have a hand or a grasp on all those guys coming out for the draft. But I don't know those guys. I probably watched the first 10 picks. But other than that, man, it's not even a fanfare like it used to be.
Right. Yeah, I agree, man. Wrapping things up in the huddle with your boy Joe Ham. I'm your boy One Live Stew, Ryan Stewart. Another reminder to catch the 2 Live Stews tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock. Right here on Stewart Media and Entertainment every Monday and Thursday. Doug and I kick that thing off at 7 a.m. in the morning. Y'all, please join us. We'll wrap this thing up today, Joe, by talking about a little bit of the NFL. I don't think there's a player that's currently playing that gets under my skin or on my nerves more than Aaron Rodgers. And Aaron Rodgers is doing it again. And he's announced that this more than likely, still giving himself an out, he's announced that this more than likely will be his last season. My question to you is he doing that because he wants a farewell tour? My thoughts to you are, typically a guy in a position such as Aaron Rodgers at the beginning of a season doesn't come out and tell the world that this is going to be my last year. They usually wait towards the end, right? Give me your thoughts on Aaron Rodgers and what he's done now.
Man, goodness, Aaron, man, why do you keep doing this to me? I just want to see this brother play football. I mean, he keeps putting himself in the news with going out of town and doing all these road trips and delaying signing with the Steelers. And I get it. I mean, he's fatigued. He's been in the league a long time. I'm not worried if he's going to be ready to play. I'm not worried if he's going to learn the playbook. I'm not worried if he's going to be able to be a leader of DJ Metcalf, and that offense. I'm not worried about those things, too. But, I mean, what's your intention of saying that this might be my last year? Are you trying to get Cam Hayward and TJ Watt to play harder, to say, hey, let's win one for the Gipple, one last hurrah? Are you trying to get those guys to play that hard? Because that does not happen in football. I've never seen that happen in football. And when it does happen in basketball, each and every city that you go to, they're going to do a jumbotron. They're going to send you a farewell silhouette or what happens, standing ovation. Does he want that? Does he want attention drawn to him like that? Because I think we're going to go back down this road next year. Because what if he plays well? What if he throws for 3,500 yards and 25 TDs and 5 picks? The Steelers go to the divisional round, the playoffs. What are you going to say? He's a
freaking attention whore.
Yeah, and he says he's not. He says he's not. A couple of weeks ago, he said,
whore.
I don't know what jersey I'm going to get retired in. I don't know what Hall of Fame I'm going to, jersey I'm going to want or what team I'm going to want. He should have learned from Brett Favre. And what I mean when I say that is that Brett Favre always said in the end of the season, I don't know. We have to see. And going into that season, when they say, how many you have left now, Brett? Man, we have to see after this year ends. See how my body feels. You're going into now, and I understand he's 41 years old right now, but you're going into it now and be like, hey, guys, whatever happens, I'm not going to be with you next year. That doesn't sit well with me.
Yeah.
At this point, let's fast forward it and let's see this guy play football. That's it.
I was a huge Brett Favre fan when I played against him in Detroit. He was with Green Bay, of course. That was the old NFC Central Division. I'm not a fan of Brett Favre now because of some things that's happened in his post-career.
Yeah.
However, one thing that he did when he bounced from Green Bay was he was successful in New York with the Jets.
Yes.
He was successful in Minnesota with the Vikings.
Yes.
Aaron Rodgers can't claim that same success to this point. He had 2 dismal years at best in New York. We'll see what happens in Pittsburgh. If he stays healthy and Tomlin's defense is typically like Tomlin's defense is, they brought in Pickett. They've got some weapons around him. Maybe he'll have some success. But to this point, his post-career after leaving Green Bay has been garbage.
Garbage. And the last few years leaving Green Bay.
Yeah. They were happy to get him out of there. They were happy to bring in Love. Hey, man, outstanding job today.
My goodness, man. It's always great, brother. Always great.
Let's see if there's some chat in here. We do have
always great.
A lot of good mornings. All I know is Cooper Flagg. Question for you, Joe. How do you think Cooper Flagg's going to do in Dallas this upcoming 2 or 3 years?
He's going to win Rookie of the Year, and he's going to be able to do it without force feeding it. And the reason, because Kyrie Irving might come back in January. You only have Gafford there that they re-signed, and you have Anthony Davis, so he's going to be probably the second or third option. So he can go and facilitate, rebound, play defense, and let his offense come to him. So very seldom a number 1 pick goes to a team that's has some future Hall of Famers on it already, and Kyrie Irving and Anthony Davis.
DJ Chuck says Houston Rockets needs to find a backup guard for Fred VanVleet. After acquiring KD, I think they got a real squad in Houston, and I love the coach.
Squad.
I think KD will have no choice but to succumb and bow down to the coaching of Ime Udoka. I like this a lot, but they do need a backup for Van Fleet.
And I love the fact that, no doubt about it, they need a backup. But Houston immediately with Fred Van Fleet, he's a champion. He knows how to win on a young team, and he knows how to show leadership. And then Kevin Durant, that's a two-time champion. So when you have those champions in the locker room, no matter how young a team that they are, you're going to be able to be successful. The West is stacked, brother.
It's stacked. Another one from DJ Chuck, Ryan and Joe. What do you all see Ace Bailey going since he didn't work out during the NBA pre-draft combine? What's your thoughts on Ace?
Yeah, I didn't like what Ace is doing, but researching and hearing Jay Billis and some of those analysts say that it's not a big deal not to work out for teams. But it strikes me a little bit, Ryan, that he didn't work out for any team. I mean, he just basically said that, watch my film. No, you see, one thing what he misunderstood, or his representative misunderstood about working out and interviewing, it's a difference. You can go to their organization and have your agent tell that particular GM or scouts, we're going to be there. We're going to answer questions. We're going to do the medical eval, but we're not working out.
We're not working out.
But why not get a feel for, even you can interview them and they can get a feel for you, but why not answer questions about it and not work out? That's a little bit alarming. I think he'll go 6. I don't think he'll drop past 6, though.
My cousin Fly Ty mentioned Sam Presti in the chat. What an amazing job that guy's done his entire freaking career.
Man, you're talking about staying with it, because right before a few days ago, if he did not pull that off, everybody, including myself, would be like, what's up with Sam Presti? All this talent for all these years, going on 20 years, and you don't have an NBA championship at all? Yeah. So one is all it takes for you to be in the midst of being one of the greats.
Thank you all for pulling up, man. I'm literally typing that in the chat right now. Let me finish doing that. Thank you all for pulling up. Y'all please continue to pass the word about what's going on with Stewart Media and Entertainment. Y'all please continue to pass the word about In the Huddle with Joe Ham that goes down every single Wednesday. We're going to try to keep this thing right around in the 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock area. But we appreciate y'all. A+ for everybody in the chat. Thank you guys very much. A+ to you, Joe. I dropped the ball a couple of times today. Thank you for catching that ball that was dropped. I appreciate it.
That's what it was second down. It was second down. We still got third down. It was second down.
We got to right back to the score. And I'm giving you an A+ as well, Joe. Outstanding job, man. Sir, man. And we look forward to next week's show, man.
Hey, can you say what my shirt says?
To hell with Georgia.
Thank you, brother.
That's what it says. and you see me in front of the Rambling Wreck today, right?
Yeah, and a hell of an engineer.
Yeah, with a business degree and a minor in psychology, mind you. Good job today, Joe. Appreciate you, man.
No doubt about it, my brother.
All right, man. God is good all the time, and all the time God is good. If you guys don't know him, you need to find him and show him love, because that's all he's showing you. Nothing but love. Quick reminders, man. We did get a new block of rooms for the Stews cruise, the Stews Super Bowl cruise that we'll be doing this upcoming year for the Super Bowl. If you're interested, go to sme.arleywood, ARLEWOOD, @gmail.com. Let her know you're interested. We got to get those deposits in to secure your room or keep your cabin. So make sure that you holler at Arley, sme.arleywood, @gmail.com. Don't forget about all the shows that's on the platform. We got a new show that started on yesterday, The Truth Hidden in Us. I watched it last night. Very good show, okay? Fire show. Some people will say ratchet, and I might say it was a tad ratchet too, but I really enjoyed the show last night. I think Tanya's going to do a great job on the platform. Every Wednesday, Joe and I are here for In the Huddle with Joe Ham, and we also have Ryan's Rewind, where from time to time, I'll do an interview with Joe and I, or maybe myself, with some people from the past, my blast from the past, hence Ryan's Rewinds, man. So y'all make sure y'all continue to support the Two Live Stews experience and the Two Live Stews show. Y'all remember to support Stewart Media and Entertainment. Again, God bless you all. Thank y'all for being here, and peace.